The Ascension Summit 2017. Your all-day access to meet international speakers, authors, and coaches. 20 experts, three continents. 2 days. 2 days with one goal: elevate your life. Welcome to the Ascension Summit with your host, E.R. Spalding.
Hi, and welcome back. I am E.R. Spalding, the founder of the Ascension Summit 2017 and your Chief Integration Strategist for the Evolving Leader Society. I hope that you have not been getting off of this roller coaster ride, because the digital presenters have absolutely been phenomenal, and this next coach is short of amazing. Her name is Ela Lair, and she has deemed herself the Queen of Thoughts. And I'm sure that you all are probably wondering, Queen of Thoughts, what does that even mean? But when you have an opportunity to listen to her, you will be absolutely amazed and floored. She's actually doing things a little bit differently, and she is going to be reading a couple of things from her upcoming ebook. But let me give you a little bit more information about who she is and how she's come to be here. So, she is Ela Lair and holds a degree in mental training and a certificate for communication and business management, as well as human resources. In addition, Ela became a certified reflection method coach and has acquired senior expertise at Utaptics. During the last decade, she has been learning how the mind works and is now able to apply that knowledge, helping others. Ela has a passion on how our minds work and in what way an inner reference leads to outcomes, desired or undesired, which ultimately impact our lives. She has the talent to simplify complex thinking patterns, creating an understanding to help raise awareness and the causes of problems. With this skill set, Ela can give guidance on the path to a better life. As an advocate for self-improvement, Ela lives by example. She is able to provide the blueprint of your thinking. She works with individuals and gives presentations in front of growing enterprises. As the Queen of Thoughts, Ela has received international praise for her work, helping people shape their lives for the better. Having lived and worked in the United States, Europe, and Asia, Ela is able to work in both English and German. She is married and has 6 children. So, without further delay, sit on back, get comfortable. She has one of the most melodic voices that one will ever want to hear. And listen closely for some of the keys she will be sharing on how to shift your thoughts to create the desired outcomes of your life. Check it out. Here's Ela.
Welcome everybody. I'm Ela Lair, and today I'll be reading a sample of my soon-to-be released ebook. Stop that bullshit. Find your solutions. Create results. Finally. Nobody tells us how to handle our problems, our emotions, feelings, and sensations. Not parents, no caregivers, teachers, and not society. At least not effectively. What we do learn is a band-aid solution. Short term, we seem to get a grip of things. Long term, we find ourselves facing pretty much the same issue over and over and over. It really took me a while to recognize this, and even more time to finally admit to myself, the same shit happened to me, and there was seemingly nothing that I could do about. This is a quote from one of my most favorite teachers, Robert G. Smith, the founder of Faster EFT and Utaptics. Memories buried alive never die. They just show up in a different pair of shoes, and usually in an uglier way. Let me introduce myself to you, especially for those who don't know me yet. My name is Ela Lair. I'm a mental trainer and a tapping expert, and I call myself the Queen of Thoughts because I geek out about everything that has to do with thinking and feeling. I'm a real Viennese girl. I love coffee. I love our imperialistic buildings and fancy lifestyle, and I love everything gold and crystals. As a teenager, I had a sports training accident, which put me in a wheelchair for nearly a year. After a long healing journey, a visit at the doctor's made it clear to me I had to choose for myself. Either I stay in disability, that was the doctor's grim prognosis, or I wear my high heels and dance at the many lavish balls in our emperor's palace. You guess. Well, it was quite a journey. While I did dance at several balls, and many more to come in different cities around the world, I studied mental training as it impressed me the most myself. How come I made that decision? Therefore pushed myself from deep down to a high. And even lived in several countries, all on my 2 feet. My quest in my lifelong studies was to find the answers, provide solutions, and gain knowledge on how to create results. To this day, I am fascinated what I am capable of, that change can occur. And if I can do this, you can do so too. My approach is a very different one. We cannot solve our problems with the same level of thinking that created them. That says Albert Einstein. It's my favorite quote. We tend to do everything we know and keep doing and doing and doing, as if doing the same thing over and over would finally get us a different result. Albert Einstein calls this the definition of insanity. In my experience, we underestimate the base of all of that, the power of the mind and the influence it has, as this is the foundation of everything. Everything we know, everything we do, everything we think and feel, and everything we want. All of that has one origin, deep down inside of us. Let's investigate this further. What needs to happen to lift your left arm? And when you are sleeping, is then your arm moving because of the idea of the arm? We've all heard this expression, mind over matter, and the statement, wherever the mind goes, the body follows. So who is making that arm move? Who is this force behind? It's you. And you are doing this with a thought process, an unconscious programming, and that's learned. It's actually conditioned. So we are all conditioned. We are conditioned to think a certain way, to behave a certain way, to feel a certain way, to believe a certain way. Let's jump right in here. Who even conditioned us? And are we victims? It sure does look this way, as we act and perform most likely exactly as those around us. Truth is, it's an active act to get conditioned. We pick and choose from what's offered, what's there at that moment. And since we've been introduced to our surroundings at a very young age via another person, we store this behavior or a certain action as truth about the world, according to this relationship. We store this with the pains and the hurts, the dislikes and the likes, the love and all the weirdness to it. Well, we don't know any better, right? The human brain is therefore a learning machine, as Robert Smith calls that. We watch others and implement this in our daily behavior, our thoughts and beliefs. Through this filter from now on, we pick and choose even more defined. The result is mostly what we are dealing with today, and label that expression as problems, issues, or challenges, which is in truth a mere creation based from what we hold within, and ultimately a projection. This picking and choosing is like playing with building blocks. You decide what you take. Some blocks you prefer over others, and some blocks you choose not to use at all. Your picture of the world is very unique, although it's in most parts from what's offered at this young age, and therefore reflects more or less what you were surrounded by. Realizing this way of literally creating your own world, there's one question we can eliminate once and for all. This one drives most people insane, leaves them helpless and hopeless, feeling out of control. This question drives people into constant frustration, depression, and everything you can imagine along these lines. It's the question, why is this happening to me? Why me? Now it's time to introduce you to the ultimate truth. Life is an inside job. Happiness is an inside job. Anger, rage, and hatred is an inside job. So is joy, contentment, and peace. Now we know how we create. Now we know how we store information in our unconscious. Now we know why we act and perform a certain way. Now we know why we have the problems we have. And now we know why we are the person we define ourselves as, and why our world is the way we perceive it as. I can say that out of my personal experience. Having lived in several countries around this world already, I took my mindset everywhere I went. I saw dirt, I ran into unfriendly people, grumpy men taking my parking lot, feisty women at checkouts. Although this was a bit difficult in the US to come across, as this is not common behavior. You can easily imagine what I found even there. On my latest trip, though, I've had 2 days of magical experiences, one after the other. And you guess where I had to go to make these changes. Yet again, I'm coming from a different angle. We like to tweak what is, so we don't have to face what really is. We blend out, we fade away, we brush off, we deny. We resist and run from. We are all more or less escapeaholics. And these are all tactics that we do because it serves the purpose. We stay in alignment with what we believe. Well, this is the main purpose of a belief, that we believe this. Nothing blinds you except your thoughts. Nothing limits you except your fears. Nothing controls you except your beliefs. This is a quote from Marianne Williamson. I'm sure many of you have been falling in love already. That's the perfect example for putting on those rose-colored glasses, right? Do you remember how your face lit up even at waking, despite the rain? Your exams this day in high school, and the empty cereal box left on the counter by your little brother? Beliefs work both ways. It can be so beneficial, like having a crush on somebody. And it can be even detrimental when we believe that there's no way out. This cannot be. This is not for me. If you think you can do a thing, or think you can't do a thing, you are right, says Henry Ford. So let me ask you, who is willing to question your own belief? Who is ready to tweak the belief, to adjust, to change? This will require work, time, effort, and awareness. Tweaking reality with the idea of positive thinking costs much more effort in the long run. Perhaps not right away, because it comes easily to us as we stay in alignment with what we hold. And why is that so? Because our beliefs are unconscious, and we lack awareness, clarity, and understanding for what's going on. It's like driving a car. When I sit in the driver's seat for the very first time, I felt overwhelmed with what I had to think about. Mirror, other mirror, gentle speeding, push brakes, don't jump, watch the car in front, hold the wheel straight, and so on. And all of that nearly at the same time. Do you remember the stress of getting this all right? But over time, doing it often, you drive to work while listening to your favorite radio show. You might even sing along, sip on your coffee, and talk to your little one in the back. Check frequently the routing suggestions and notice that you are following a detour over the bridge since yesterday. But what about looking in the mirror, using the turn signal, and pushing brakes? What about accelerating and observing your speed? It's automated by now. Do you notice that having an unconscious is dang convenient? See what else you can do because it does it all for you. When arriving at the office, you won't even know much about how you got there. Maybe the detour is what you remember. Maybe not even this. This is the power of the unconscious. And this goes true for calculating and baking recipes, your shopping list, the lines of your favorite quote, and how your hubby looks like so you can recognize him at any time. Robert Smith calls this driving on autopilot. Your unconscious does it all for you, as it's the smarter part about you. But it's not the one which determines. Actually, we should celebrate something so amazing like the unconscious. Don't you think so? Supporting us all the way through our daily chores, effortlessly and naturally. The greatest gift we can find once we run into this knowledge is that we are not broken and there's nothing wrong with us. Did you hear me? I'll say it again. You are not broken and there's nothing wrong with you. You act and perform according to what you have learned. Okay, this is not to be used as an excuse. You know damn well what's right and what's wrong. And you are the one choosing what you use at any given moment. The great thing about this is we have it all in us. It's all in here. We've seen it somewhere, picked it from someone, and now we hold it inside. We hold the bad and the good. We hold the disadvantage and the benefit. Since we used to create from what's inside of us, every outcome is to be considered a success. We might not call it a success, as we rather define undesired outcomes as failures. But let that sink in. Each unfulfilled wish is a success according to the creative forces of our unconscious, just producing from what we hold inside. So the good news is we carry all success principles in us. All it needs is adjustment. Let's utilize that behavior to our benefit, or that emotion, or that sensation. Remember, everything is a combination of parts and pieces, and we can rearrange them in our mind at any given time, so it becomes a totally new experience. I'll say it yet again. You are not broken. And you are always a success. This is so important to me that you receive this message. Actually, everybody needs to know this. Imagine a world where everybody knows this. Imagine what we can do and who we can be. Okay, this is no secret anymore. We all know now that we can change ourselves. Yes, I already stated it's work. And I also stated that it can be done with effort and awareness. The problem is not really the problem. What is it good for when you keep addressing everything on the outside, which we already learned is projected from the inside out? All these quick fixes, these band-aids, prescription drugs and treatment symptoms, positive affirmations and mindset techniques, all these short-term solutions. Your experience deep inside will tell you the pain remains the same. Let's look at intense emotional situations like divorce, abuse, addiction, or any kind of failure. Once you act on the outside, and with that, try to break a pattern you feel caught in, because you are hurting and you want to end this painful experience. You're still acting according to the same structure that brought you here in the first place. Now it will take a while till the pattern can re-establish itself and regain momentum. And when you will feel like you are back in the loop, all you're going to lose with these conscious interventions is precious lifetime and faith, and certainly not the root cause you still hold inside. And deep inside, you are unhappy, frustrated, and still hurting. As I walked out the door towards the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison. It's a quote from Nelson Mandela. So far, we've established the knowledge about why we are the way we are with our beliefs and behaviors and bodies and looks and wishes, wanted and unwanted. If it comes to our parents, this must be true same way, right? With that set of beliefs, they've been raised. And with that set of beliefs, they've raised us. We also quickly see the potential of limit imposed on these beliefs. And this is what we've learned to represent the world by, right? You will instantly feel a shift and find inner peace when you are willing to do the work that will eventually lead you to that place where you can forgive them, as they did the best they could at that moment in time with the emotional skills they had, which is also not to be taken as an excuse at all. And if any of you have children, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When people are supportive and try to help you move through an experience, either it's a close family member, a friend, or a coach, they are coming from their own limiting belief systems. Let's look at a few which are quite common. My parents could be very religious. To them, everything out there would have been given by God and therefore is considered good. But when I have had many experiences of upset, that I just cannot take anymore that common view, that God means it well with me and is on my side. Now what? Let's say my physics teacher in high school lectured about the universe having a spinning motion and is full of celestial bodies. A while ago, I learned there are people out there to seriously question the universe. And let me pretend this makes me doubt the whole thing now. So now what? How do you think that this belief system is going to facilitate a shift in me? How do you think I'm going to solve this issue about abundance if I cannot trust the universe? We've all heard about positive thinking and affirmations. What if, not even for my own sake, I just cannot find anything positive in my current suffering? How am I going to solve this issue? Clearly, I need to believe this so I can use it in my mind to make the changes I desire. Now, does that mean I cannot heal myself from this issue? The freedom we are all looking for is a layer above, like the bird's eye view, because any limit will eventually only bring you to the limit. And we all know we create from within, and we project outside to experience what we hold within. Bob Proctor says, your outside world is a reflection of your inside world. What goes on in the inside shows on the outside. So where would you think is here the limit? I'm not here to tell you what's right or wrong, to judge or condemn. That's not the point why I'm bringing this up. Please do not misunderstand this, Nothing is wrong with whatever you are using on you. All is good if it serves you. You can make the most fantastic changes when you can take it with your belief system. And the smartest thing for all of us is to use what works. I am addressing those who cannot make changes. I am addressing those who live with their issues for the past 10, 20, maybe even 40 or 50 years. My auntie is an 86-year-old woman. She was a child when Europe was shaken by World War II. That makes how many years of trauma? Around 70? I'm here to lead you to the conclusion that you got to go to another level in order to solve your issue once and for all. And I invite you to re-evaluate each one of your beliefs. Let's recap here really quickly. We've learned how we create, and we've really worked hard on understanding our belief systems. We've accomplished to take the power back, as no one is responsible besides ourselves. And we are ready now to plan to focus on how we can make the change happen. We've already established that the unconscious is a fantastic tool to have, a helpful device inside of us to ease all the processing and clear space to actually decide what it is we really want. We came to the conclusion that the unconscious is a supportive storage system which holds all the wisdom and therefore is designed to keep us safe at all times. Isn't that a brilliant partnership? And the last point I want to make. The moment you feel resistance rising against something you really desire, you must understand that this resistance is a safety mechanism, the ringing of the alarm clock. It's a mechanism of the unconscious to keep you in alignment with what it holds. With that experience, you can clearly see that you must not have any information inside of you that the unconscious can access that matches that you'll be okay. It has no reference in the data that you'll be safe. Our usual attempt is to fight the unconscious, fight the resistance, accompanied by lots of intense emotions like frustration, anger, and blame. I'll use the analogy of an iceberg. The conscious equals the tip of the iceberg. According to Wikipedia, almost 91% of the mass is below the surface of the water. Do you realize what you are fighting against? That gives us the impression we have no power, which results in keeping up the cycle of rage and hatred. If we don't want a specific outcome like deaths or abuse or betrayal, if we suffer from this outcome or even hate it strongly, this is just fighting against yourself. Giving up, giving in, is losing the battle against yourself. Illnesses per se tell us about this inner contradiction. Do you understand that you fight yourself? Do you understand that you are fighting the part which holds all the information to keep you safe, and it has no other information to keep you safe? Do you understand that with your conscious wish, you are 10% going against 90% of what? Do you realize this is you? This all happens inside of you. Doesn't that sound ridiculous or even insane? How can you win this, ever? Unless you find a way to access the unconscious rather than just dealing with the surface. Partnering with the unconscious by accepting the attempt to keep you safe will help you shift your awareness, as it gives you instantly a new point of view. This shift of perspective will help you open up to new insights and allows you to make the necessary changes. My favorite quote from a wonderful teacher and author, Katie Byron: "What you experience is the truth right now." You will instantly realize you are not 5 years old anymore. You are not there anymore. It's not happening anymore. It's all over. It's in the past. Because you are here today and you are okay. This way, the unconscious will be fed new information in order to utilize later. Marianne Williamson says, "You must learn a new way to think before you can master a new way to be." Let me tell you what changed for me, learning about all of this and implementing it too. It took me many years to figure out what I was doing back then and how can I reproduce this. How can I transform unwanted emotions into beneficial ones no matter what happened? And live my life by design rather than by default. Today, I feel mostly like a happy and content woman in her late 40s, living her 20s now, and call my life a wonderful journey with an excitement for what's to come next. This knowledge is designed to serve a purpose. Let's change my world. Let's change your world. Let's change our world. One person at a time. I want you to remember we are all in this together. What is true for me can be true for you. I wish that this information is impacting and empowering you beyond belief as it did for me. So, what are you doing now with all of that wisdom here? And how can you utilize this knowledge now to your benefit? I gave you many insights and therefore a base for asking better questions. Put yourself in another perspective and observe what it is you're doing, thinking, or believing. Becoming aware is the first necessary step. Focus on expressions you use, behavioral patterns, recurring situations, feelings, and emotions. And secondly, addressing it then is crucial to make the wanted transformation and create the desired changes. I invite you, stop that bullshit, find your solutions, create better results. Finally.
Stay tuned, and we'll be right back with more exciting insights, strategies, and tools to elevate your life.